Summary: Class Clown by Dave Barry. Introduction: An unlikely Pulitzer-winning Wiseass. Dave Barry opens Class Clown by confronting the absurdity of his own career. How does the son of Presbyterian minister, boy raised with Midwestern values and nuclear bomb drills, end up winning Pulitzer Prize for writing humor columns about exploding toilets, fire-starting Pop-Tarts, and Neil Diamond? That tension between seriousness and silliness forms the heart of the memoir as Barry embraces the full chaos of his 77-year journey and turns it into fuel for laughter. From the start, Barry reassures readers that Class Clown is not self-important memoir, it's celebration of the absurd. Reminder that in a world of deadlines, disasters, and dysfunction, laughter is a form of resistance and storytelling is survival. Part 1. The rock-throwing years, Act childhood. Growing up in the 1950s in Armonk, New York, Barry remembers time before the internet, video games, and helicopter parenting. Entertainment came in the form of throwing rocks, building forts, and narrowly avoiding death by bottle rocket. This section feels like suburban Stand By Me. If it had been written by Monty Python, Barry describes school life with deadpan wit, particularly the Cold War-era drills where children were taught to hide under their desks in the event of nuclear strike. Because clearly desks were radiation-proof, he jokes, the looming threat of global destruction filtered through the lens of childhood cluelessness becomes an unexpected source of comedy. His family life was stable but strict. His father, minister, and his mother, devoutly practical woman, taught Dave two things: work hard and don't take yourself too seriously. The first rule took few decades to sink in. The second became his guiding principle. Part 2, Class Clown, literally. By high school, Barry had found his niche, humor. He didn't excel in sports science or popularity contests, but he had timing. Jokes were his way in. He was quite literally elected Class Clown. Title he took as both validation and challenge. If he could make people laugh, maybe he didn't need to worry about SAT scores or prom. This section gives readers glimpses of the early seeds of his voice, observational and mischievously subversive. He learned early on that making fun of authority, gently, cleverly, was superpower. Part 3. Literature and LSD. Well, sort of. Barry attended Haverford College in the 1960s, majoring in English. He read just enough Shakespeare and Chaucer to pass exams, but mostly focused on playing guitar in band, protesting the war, and figuring out how to survive dorm life with minimal laundry. He portrays the campus culture with irreverent affection, pretentious poetry readings, uncomfortable code encounters, and professors who marvel far too seriously. College taught me that life is complicated, he writes, especially when you try to sound like you understand T.S. Eliot. His band, the Federal Duck, actually landed record deal. Though the album didn't chart, it solidified Barry's love for music and his belief that sometimes trying and failing in weird pursuits is worth more than predictable success. Part 4. Goose Verses. Duck early journalism days. Post-college, Barry landed at small-town newspaper in Pennsylvania, where the stakes felt low but the consequences were surprisingly high. He recounts the Goose Duck incident, an innocent caption misidentifying Goose's duck that triggered flurry of angry reader responses. It was his first lesson in the power of the printed word and how easily it can backfire. Barry's time in local journalism taught him to write quickly, clearly, and often under pressure. He'd cover town meetings, sports events, obituaries, and once woman who made sweater for her dog. He also learned the most important truth of community reporting. Never underestimate how mad people can get about something you thought was joke. Part 5. Corporate Hell. The years of writing without meaning. In the 1970s, Barry pivoted to corporate writing consulting. He worked with businesses trying to communicate more effectively and quickly discovered that many executives were allergic to clarity. Their memos were labyrinths of jargon, euphemism, and passive voice. Barry recounts trying to teach professionals how to write sentences that meant something and failing spectacularly. I spent 5 years trying to convince people that the word utilized should almost always be replaced with use, he writes. It didn't go well. This period is mined for maximum comic gold, but Barry also uses it to highlight broader theme. Most of adult life is people pretending to understand things they don't. Humor, he argues, is often the only honest reaction. Part 6. The Miami Herald and Wild Editor's Blessing. Barry's big came when he joined the Miami Herald. His editor, described as lunatic in the best sense, gave him one instruction: write what you find funny and never worry about offending anyone. It was creative freedom on steroids. His columns quickly gained popularity for their absurdity and fearlessness. He wrote about bizarre inventions, exploiting plumbing, and the inherent madness of modern life. Some readers loved him. Others sent angry letters. One column mocking Neil Diamond triggered wave of hate mail that still gets mentioned in fan circles. Another mocking Indiana earned him the ire of the entire state. And yet, readers adored him. They sent him tips, urban legends, and warnings about dangerous consumer products. One led him to the exploding toilet story. Another led to him setting strawberry Pop-Tart on fire. Live on the David Letterman show, buried everyday nonsense into satire. His gift was not exaggeration, but elevation, taking ridiculous real-life scenarios and showing how close they were to parody already. Part 7, the Anti-Telemark Heater Crusade. Perhaps his most successful activism came not from political commentary but from war on telemark heaters. After being repeatedly harassed by robocalls, Barry led his readers on campaign to call the National Telemarketing Association back. Again and again. It was petty, it was beautiful, it worked. Eventually, the association stopped answering its phones, overwhelmed by the sheer volume of annoyed citizens flipping the script. The irony, Barry writes, is when people who make money annoying others can't take it when the annoyance is returned. Part 8. Presidential runs, pop culture fame, and Springsteen. Throughout the 1990s and 2000s, Barry became more than a columnist. He wrote books, many with long, ridiculous titles, went on tours, gave commencement speeches, and ran for president. Satirically on platform that included mandatory pie and banning homework, regular on The Tonight Show and Late Night with David Letterman. He stole hotel sign for Upper. He did book signing with Stephen King. He co-founded rock band The Rock Bottom Remainders with King, Amy Tan, and other literary heavyweights. Though the band lacked musical talent, they once performed with Bruce Springsteen, who sang backup for Dave. Barry jokes, "I'll never be Proust, but did Proust ever sing with the boss?" Part 9, humor, grief, and growing old but not up. Amid all the punchlines, Class Clown contains poignant moments. Barry reflects on losing friends to cancer, aging parents, and the bittersweetness of watching his children grow up. He lost his younger brother to alcoholism. He speaks about it quietly without sermonizing. The humor doesn't disappear here. It softens, becomes lyric. He suggests that humor isn't the opposite of grief. One of its forms, his reflections on aging. Joint pain, forgetfulness, art mailers are hilarious but also intimate. He writes not to deny mortality, but to laugh in its face. Death gets the final word, he says, but I'm going to talk over it for as long as I can. Conclusion. Still the clown, still in class. The book ends not with crescendo, but with chuckle. Barry doesn't try to wrap everything in life-affirming bow. Instead, he reminds us, life is one long improv show, and we're all just winging it. If you can laugh, especially at yourself, you already won. He acknowledges that he'll never be studied in graduate seminars. No Pulitzer ceremony will quote him in marble. But he's been part of thousands of lives. Reminding readers not to take things so damn seriously, he argues, is more than enough. Key themes and takeaways. 1. Humor is lifeline. Barry's memoir argues, implicitly and explicitly, that humor is not merely entertainment, it's endurance. Whether he's facing angry readers, aging, or grief, laughter is the bridge between confusion and clarity to the absurdity of American life. From corporate speak to political campaigns, from exploding appliances to Barbie dolls that double as fire hazards, Barry exposes how bizarre the normal world is. He invites readers to stop pretending everything makes sense. 3. The seriousness of not taking things seriously. The title Class Clown isn't just joke. It's philosophy. Barry isn't calling for apathy, but for perspective. He suggests that perhaps the best way to face frightening world is not with solemnity, but with smirking resilience. Final thoughts. Class Clown is Dave Barry at his most personal and profound. It's memoir that the traps of self-importance by being exactly what fans hoped for. Honest, sharp, moving, and downright hilarious. From duck mix-ups to presidential parodies, Barry crafts life story that reminds us that being professional Wiseass might just be one of the noblest careers out there. If Marcel Proust had exploded toilet or jammed with Springsteen, maybe he'd have come close. Let me know if you'd like this summary adapted for blog post, review platform, or book club handout.